Okay, I'm hitting the blue go live button, and we're live. It is Monday, December 13th, 5:02 p.m. Eastern Time. It is, I think, 11 p.m. in Tuscany, uh, uh, where the imaginary, um, where this imaginary show is taking place. Wait, that's where the wedding was.
Wait, um,
Wait,
sh- uh, Shiv, Shiv.
yes, Kendall.
What are you talking about, guys?
I don't know.
This is
Just say
completely.
yes. This is good improv. You always say yes, Ben. You're Roman, so just go with it.
I'm what?
You're Roman.
You know, if you guys
I've always thought of myself as
wait,
more
stop it!
Assyrian.
Just stop it! Okay, stop it! If you guys are talking too loud, Dad's gonna hear. Okay, we are meeting. Okay, because I have a plan, and
Yeah.
I have a can you just give me a little bit of time to set out my plan? I know you think that I'm like a drug addict and like drunk all the time and that I can't do anything, but I really want to show you that I have a great plan.
You,
That's the way I've always thought of you, Scott.
Yeah,
I, I, I don't know. I guess I'll have to see it.
okay.
So,
Yeah, okay. Let's go. Let's go to the PowerPoint. I have
wait,
my
who has the PowerPoint?
I do.
Okay. Are you
I
sure?
Yeah, because my high flying PR people put together a PowerPoint for me
Okay.
based on a presentation that I want to get buy-in from you, Roman, and you, Shiv, about this.
I think of myself as more Assyrian than Roman.
No, it's the name of the person, Benjamin. It's like his first name.
Who's the drug addict here?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
You've forgotten
seriously.
your own name.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
At this point, I should call you a lot of expletives and make fun of you not being able to have a sexual relationship with anyone.
Right. Okay. Let's do. So for me to share, I do what?
Go top of your screen.
I see the
Yeah.
adoption of a new
then go
personality has
over
not
to
affected
the-
your tech skills.
Wait.
Yes, exactly. Go over to the right, next to the gear, above your head. There should be a thing that says share screen.
Not your real head, the image of your head on the screen.
I gotcha.
Don't
Share
look
screen.
up in person.
I see.
It's not
I
like
see.
hanging above
then-
you.
And then
Okay.
don't share your entire screen. This is what you did last time.
Okay.
Go to the window tab at the top. It says entire screen window and should say like whatever your browser is. And go
Okay.
to window and then select from there.
Gotcha. Okay. We got it. I got it.
Get ready,
Allow.
folks. This is the part where In Lieu of Fun breaks.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
gonna
here we go.
definitely break.
Okay. Can everyone see what I'm doing?
No.
You can't
Because-
see anything?
No,
We can't see
because
anything.
This is also, by the
You're-
way, something that happens.
Try Scott reading the screen where
Is
it
this
says what to do.
Wait, this was not
Scott,
part
is
of
it
the
in
plan.
PowerPoint actually, or is it in something
Yes,
else?
it's in PowerPoint.
Okay. When you go to like hover over and you put on the you might have to actually.
I'm
give it
not
to me,
giving
and I'll
any
do it for
tech
you.
support as long as you keep calling me Roman.
Sounds like something that Roman would say.
Okay.
Do you need my help? Send me the PowerPoint.
You know what? I'm gonna do that. You know what? Okay. Let me do. Save.
Is your malevolence being tempered by incompetence, Scott?
Okay. This is conspiracy plan.
I can't wait.
PowerPoint. Okay.
I'm great. I will open it in one moment.
Okay, but wait. I have to send it to.
Remember when
Clonic.
you were like, "What are we gonna do for 60 minutes?" And I was like, "Hey,
Yeah, right.
don't worry."
Okay, I sent it. You know, this is part of why Succession is so exciting, is
Yeah.
because you get a lot of tech slip ups, and people emailing decks to each other.
Yeah.
It really,
Yeah.
it's darkly comic.
That's what I heard about in
Yeah.
the reviews that I read, that the parts where the PowerPoint doesn't quite work and the share
Yeah.
screen fails is really gives it a certain verisimilitude.
I want
Yeah.
to say how old I felt going back through all of the episodes to find that episode, take a screenshot of it, because it was just like,
Look, Scott got swallowed up by the earth.
I found it. Let's see.
You have to bring back Scott.
Oh, okay, hold on.
He got swallowed
I'm
up by
doing
the
a lot
earth.
of stuff at the moment, Ben.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Scott is the subject of today's show, and for him to just vanish into a hole in the earth is kind of like, that's the point in the Bible that it's not about Korach, is when Korach gets swallowed by a hole in the earth, and that's kind of what happened to Scott. Scott knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
See, you're just doing that because you're jealous that we're talking about something that you don't understand, so you're making up your own thing that I don't understand.
That's right. That's exactly what happened.
Wait, may I? Why does my share screen thing just keeps on going in a circle?
Because that's
Is
what
it
happens when it's broken.
The spinning pinwheel of death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's really actually because it doesn't like you, and it does not want you to share this screen.
No, I'm working on it. I am going to, give me 1 second. I'm opening this right now with Google Slides, and then we'll be able to share it. I think. It's
There's
being really slow.
Unfortunately, there's animation and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it'll work. Hold on.
Okay.
Don't worry. We'll make this happen.
I can only
I've got
imagine
your back,
how.
big brother.
Okay, I can only imagine how exciting this is for everyone watching.
I mean,
Like.
I really actually. What? What is so funny?
So Ben's doing his Ben is doing his best Roman imitation.
Apparently, without
apparently.
knowing it. Yeah.
So
I'm just sitting back, waiting for you guys to make something happen here, because I'm not in control of the show, because Kate's got the con today. So I'm just gonna pedal my my little elliptical trainer and
good.
Shoot the shit with Reverend Hillary Livingston in the chat.
Okay. I'm trying to open this and just won't open, so I'm like having a whole existential crisis.
So should I do some of the gags?
I have conspiracy. Yeah. Okay.
I had some gags that I had deemed insufficiently dignified
to do
on the show. These are outtakes, but I'm going to do them right. I'm going to do them right now because I have no more material because there's dead air. Okay, so here, let's do. Okay, how about this? Okay. Oh wait a second. I have to take a call. Hold on 1 second.
Oh wait, I got it open, but I got okay. Is that cocaine?
Oh, I had deemed it insufficiently dignified.
Yes, we get it, Scott.
I'm really glad that you're willing to base yourself.
There was dead air. There was just. I have a couple others that really are even worse than that. So you really better call up the thing before.
Okay, hold on. I've got it. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. Drum roll, please.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's.
Hold on. Let me go to the. Hold on.
Okay. Great. Okay. And so we can't have fun anymore, but we can have, Kate, revenge, and that is what I want to. That's what I want to talk with the family today. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please, Kate. Shiv.
Oh.
Okay, so first of all, let's just start here. So I did some research, okay, on the corporate like background, deep background of in lieu of fun of the show, and it turns out I discovered lots of things that I found somewhat disturbing. So, okay, so the first thing, I did not know this, but there's this entity called Deep State Productions that owns in lieu of fun. Did you guys know that?
No.
I did not. No.
I didn't know that.
Okay, now Clothing Monster
Oh my God.
owns Deep State Productions. Okay, it gets worse. It gets worse. Kate, Clothing Monster also owns Halliburton, and that is something I did not. I mean, and then for the real corker,
Oh my God.
Hertz owns Clothing Monster, Deep State Production, and therefore in lieu of fun. So what I propose is we are going to take over Hertz, okay? And this is, I have various ideas. Conspiracy number one is we are going to do a bear hug, okay? Now,
What's that, Scott?
a bear hug, I don't know, but on the show they use that expression. No, go back. Okay.
Sorry.
I don't know what a bear hug is, but I think it means that you need to own a lot of the shares in order to buy out somebody.
What about a bear hug shirt?
No, this is. Let's just figure how many shares of Hertz do we all have together? Do you
I don't own any.
I don't
Do
know
you?
any.
Neither do I. So that's not going to work. Let's go to 2. The conspiracy
Okay.
2. Okay. Now, I think this week should have the Greek chorus buyout. And here's the idea. And I ran the numbers. Okay. If we just have the Greek chorus buy individually, they just buy a couple of shares. Okay. We will have an enormous amount of corporate power to buy out Hertz and to reform it and make sure that it's a good company, okay? So I ran the numbers. Kate, please go through the numbers, okay? Okay, so first of all, how many shares are there? I'm sorry, if you guys have not taken corporate finance or something like this, this may be a very hard thing to understand. But the thing is that there are things called shares, okay? And they float out there. And if you can just buy the floating shares, then we can take over. So I did research, and there's almost 300 million floating shares, okay? Let's go to the next one. And then when I looked at this today, it was roughly $16 per share. So go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
So running the numbers, okay, if we have 10 million viewers, okay, then that's 30 shares they have to buy at $16, which is only $500 per viewer of the Greek chorus, okay? Go with the next one. But if we only have 1 million viewers, then they each have to do 5,000, so that's going to be a much heavier lift. And go to the next one.
Great. But what if?
But if we have 100 million viewers, then it's only about $50.
I see what you did there. You went in a different direction than I would have
Right.
gone.
Like, what if we have like 150 viewers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then I would actually have to pull up the spreadsheet. I think it makes it much harder to do that way, although it makes communicating much easier. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the next one. Oh, right. Discredit the CEO.
Well, didn't Kate already do that?
No, I didn't.
What? No. This is. Let's go. Who is the CEO of Hertz?
I have no idea.
Well,
Go to the next slide. I suspect the answer's there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hertz names Mark Fields as interim CEO. Now, Mark Fields is, I did a little research on this so-called Mark Fields. Okay, go. Okay, so look here. So I did a Google search.
This is a very excellent research.
Yeah, you see.
Screenshot
And
of
so I assumed it was the linebacker. Okay, go to the next page.
Okay.
And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but he's been
Oh my
involved.
God.
Yeah, has been involved in a lot
Mark
of
went
nuts.
before the district attorney's office
Yeah, so
for assault on his ex. This is not the same Mark Fields.
we don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know
He's
that.
also part of the NFL concussion lawsuit.
Okay, look,
He accused his
I'm
only brother of burglarizing his home.
Yeah, well, that's kind of consistent with this family, right?
Yes,
well, he falsely accused.
yes.
He falsely accused. Okay, so I think that's promising. Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Voter fraud. Okay,
I've heard about
say yes. Okay, let's go to the next one. Next slide. Okay, we go to the shareholder meeting in May, and we make a shareholder motion claiming that there was voter fraud in electing the CEO, because in publicly traded corporations, CEOs are elected, and then we call our star witness.
Wait, oh, that's me. Oh God.
I say we have Kate come in and basically explain to everybody what a bad company it is and how it engages in rampant fraud.
Yeah.
And I think that PowerPoint did not take me even close to 60 minutes.
Wait, is that it? I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna this is your plan. This is the plan that you want to take to Dad.
Yes, this is the plan. But if you speak a little too loudly, you're going to ruin it.
I mean, I just want to say that you've had a lot of dumb ideas, but this might be your best.
Thank you very much. I would say that the tech foul up was the best part of
this is
this
incredible.
episode.
And I'm very curious. At what point am I going to be able to ever make good on any? I have flown in 0 helicopters, and I can't even get a Kia Fiesta without having really.
I was going to take you in a helicopter this month, but the trip got canceled.
That's true.
Wait. Oh, that's right. Right. My question is, one of the things that was so interesting about watching Succession is that everything is so beautiful and everything is so sumptuous, and you think, oh my God, I would love to be there, but nobody's enjoying any of it. That's what's it like. It is such a Schadenfreude show. I have also I have a theory about Succession, which may seem even nuttier, but I think it's not just about a media company. I think it's about a family. But what I love about the show is that you feel like it must suck to be a billionaire.
Oh, I think.
Well, that is an attractive aspect of the show.
Yeah. So Ben,
I've ever seen the show.
I want to see if we can convince you to watch it.
I'm perfectly. No, I'm perfectly happy to watch it. I just couldn't do it this weekend.
Yes. I mean, I will say that I think that's someone I've been seeing a lot of good takes. One of the takes was Virginia Heffernan retweeted an article by someone that was basically saying that the entire show and the most interesting part of the show is going to revolve around Tom, which turned out to be incredibly prescient and was very correct and was a good article. But I really do this, everything from the New Yorker profile of Jeremy Strong to the I've thought that John hates the show and doesn't want to watch it, so he won't watch it.
I can understand that. What's the reason? What's the reasoning?
He doesn't need.
Let's find out how much of the audience has seen any of the show.
Yeah, I actually
because
is a good.
It should because if there are more people like me, you might explain a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true. So if you want to actually just explain the beginning, the premise of the show, Scott?
Oh, yeah. So the basic premise of the show is it's Rupert Murdoch. I mean, basically it's Rupert Murdoch or Sumner Redstone or some media mogul, but also amoral, right wing, is willing to do anything in order to win the ratings and become wealthy, and everyone's wealthy and everyone's fabulously rich, and the patriarch, in this case, his name is Logan Roy, who's the Rupert Murdoch figure. He is getting older, and there's going to be a succession plan, and each sibling child is
Of which there are
fight,
four.
therefore are fighting to be the successor, and it's
So it's basically King Lear.
It is
yes,
very much King Lear. That's like the
it's
entire
exactly thing.
yeah. That's entirely like I think the argument, but it is a lot of like kind of it is just like it is kind of like billionaire, like as you said, like beautiful life, kind of like rich, like incredibly, like it is a lot of like almost like if you were into watching really, I don't know how to put it, like things like Billions or things where you're just watching like all of these shows that are just about rich people being rich, and that is like something that you enjoy. It's like it is also kind of has a shallow aspect, which is it could be just that, but I actually think that there's like, as you said, I think there's a much more Shakespearean angle to it. So
can I ask everyone, what is your price? Like if somebody said you take off a year from what you're doing and you have to work on Wall Street or something like that, but you will make X amount of dollars. Like, how much is your year worth? Like $1 million? If somebody says, I give you $1 million, but you're giving up a year of your life to work on Wall Street.
Question. What's yours?
How much would it be?
Ben, what's yours? You start.
I don't really have one. I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it either.
So, I mean, I actually know this because I once sat down and calculated how much I have spent in opportunity costs to have fun over the course of my professional life. And I think it's about $20 million. Here's the rough calculation. I get paid reasonably, not by law school standards, but by, think tanky standards, which means it's in the same ballpark as a first-year associate at a law firm. A little bit more, and the senior partners at law firms who tend to think of me as a peer, get 10 times as much as that, or roughly. And so if you amortize that over a bunch of years, you say I'm probably spending about $1.5 million a year to have fun. And, I've been doing this for a long time. It hasn't always been that much, so it's an increasing scale. But early in my career, it was probably minimal, and now it's pretty substantial. I think it's probably about $1.5 million a year now, and maybe a little bit more. So you play that out over 15 or 20 years, and it starts to be real money. And I've never been tempted to do something else. So I think the answer is, candidly, there are many things that tempt me in life, but money just kind of isn't one of them. And I'm not I'm not. I just don't think it's I actually think the evidence is there of that. By the way, I think that's probably true of the two of you too.
I don't know. I would. Well, I'm interested in Scott's answer. Scott, what do you think? I think that yeah. Go ahead.
Zero, I would not. Infinite. There's really nothing you could give me, because it's a year of my life, and what am I going to do with the money anyway? That's one thing. Is one of the things I try to tell students is you got to pay back your loans. You got to do it. That's non-negotiable. But like when you think about money, just think, what are you going to do with that money? Like,
Well,
you know, what?
that's also like I think that's a really great piece of advice to give students because it's like if you like that's exactly why I never wanted to work for a firm, as Ben says. Like there was I haven't figured out the numbers, but there was like I mean, yes, I think with clerkship bonuses and everything, it's just like a lot of money that I've left on the table, never
Mhm.
going to a law firm. And yeah, it just doesn't bother me. But also I think it's different if someone hands you says, do this and I'll pay you 10 million or a
But,
billion.
but I
And then
think
for 1 year, like versus like amortizing it over your life, right? Like I think that like kind of it sets up. I mean, you're very rational in how you approach it, Ben. But like, think about like I don't know. But that's a good. I mean, Scott,
Yeah.
you're just like no, there's no
No,
amount. I mean, like
I
what
just,
if you like died at the end of the year?
yeah, well, that's part of the thing. Maybe it's because I'm a bit older than you that, you know, there's, you know, a sense of finitude. But it's also like, I don't know, you know, as many of us have worked in jobs that we didn't enjoy, and it's torture. I mean, it is really torture, and I can't think of anything worse than working on Wall Street, frankly, in terms of boredom. And think about like, oh my God, like think of all those shit posts that didn't get written. I mean, you know,
I mean, I think that this is like I think that this idea too of like that is another part about the show that I actually think is quite good is it shows like how much the wealth is like at any point any of them could just leave and be infinitely wealthy and live really wealthy incredible lives, but none of them actually want to do that because as it turns out like it's not just about wealth, it's about like the power of running this giant media corporation and this company and that's the clout of that they like all are like vying for because that's like I don't know, I think that that's like a fascinating part of it. The job sucks. It actually seems like every single one of them is miserable in their lives,
yeah,
like to a person.
right. I mean, and they're like many of them are just selling their souls, and they know that they are, but they feel completely compelled for this destiny to control things. I have to say that's one of the I don't I mean
so wait, before you go on though, I want to clarify something that Anne has raised in the chat that I think has a lot of merit, which is we're all speaking here from a relatively comfortable baseline income, which is to say, you know,
Yes,
law
it's like there's
professors
an
or
assumption
think
that we're
tank.
like happy with our getting along fine with our current salary.
Yeah, and I think it's like I took Scott's point to be about the value to you of making a huge amount more than you do,
yeah,
not about some absolute definition of wealth.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of picked some numbers because I was
I
just
mean,
trying to conceptualize it.
would it be different if I felt like I was struggling financially? I
Or hated
don't
your
know.
job.
Well, actually, I know it would be different if I hated my job. Because if I hated my job anyway, I might very reasonably say, well, hell, as long as I'm not having any fun anyway, I might as well make a
I
lot
think
of
that's
money.
exactly right.
And then you could that would actually really change the calculation. The harder situation is one in which you really valued your work, but you were actually struggling financially, and so that's the situation in which I think the temptation is highest. And I have mercifully never faced that situation. I mean, I did have some, you know, impoverishing journalism wages for a while, but I was young and didn't care, and didn't have, you know, it didn't really hurt me that much. But I think Anne's point is well taken, that you actually, like, asking this question to three people who were comfortable is an uninteresting presentation of the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have anyone on that comes would like have a different answer and why. I just think that, but I think that the point is like, I think that people, well, to make it more interesting, let's put it this way. I think that like a lot of people assume that there is some amount of money that every person could like be bought for like a finite amount of time, like that everyone would do something. And I think that like it is actually very unique that like there are people who don't value money in that way, or they value like it less than whatever it is that they're currently doing. I don't know.
But isn't the relevant question in Succession, why would you spend 10 minutes being unhappy in a power struggle of a family like that if you could just walk away with a lot of enough money to make you independent for the rest of your life?
Yeah, so that's a big part of the thing. I would just say that I was the presupposition of the question when I asked it was really about succession, like that kind of lifestyle. Like that is, I think there's this sense that people have that, of course, living that lifestyle would be like that's like would be awesome, and you would give up an enormous amount to have that. And I'm fortunate enough that like my baseline material things and others are taken care of, so that, but I don't actually think that kind of super rich or even rich in the sense of these television shows would be worth a year of my life.
But like not just the richness, okay, so like I think that there's a lot of people who would be like, I would love to be president of the United States. Like I would love to be a Supreme Court justice. I would love to be governor. Like there's a lot of people that like would like those types of jobs, which are not high paying. And or like in the kind of the high paying and famous and powerful would be like some type of celebrity, right? Like some, I don't know, like a Taylor Swift or something. I would love to, like, you know, I actually would hate all of those things. Like I would not want to do any of those things. Like I wouldn't want to have like a high pay, like a high profile public job like that with any amount of money. Whether I like had a duty to people because of like I was part of government, or if I was like some type of role model, that actually sounds like, I don't know, paralyzingly like I couldn't handle the scale of it, if that makes sense. It's like one thing when you have like a class, and that's hard enough to pull your shit together for. So like, yeah.
Right. The idea of being a leader is really something that some people just really go for, and there are some people who that's the last thing that they want to be, as a leader, in the sense of like leading an organization, leading a group of people, being responsible for that. And the show presents the scenario of like, what if the power is being exercised for like for a reason which you really disrespect, but you're still going to do it anyway.
I am going to bring. Oh, here's Paula. Paula, hi. So you asked you asked a good and hard-hitting question in the chat.
Hit him hard, Paula.
Yeah.
In the chat or in the ask a question box?
In the ask a question.
Oh. Yeah. So my
Take him out.
How do you balance the fact that like that PowerPoint was absolutely like a fucking like absurdity piece of shit laughing stock, with the fact that like it was being used to try to subvert a democratic election? Like,
I don't think she's talking about your PowerPoint. I have a suspicion. I think
she's
talking about another.
Because it's like you want to laugh so much, and then like you like sit in it and you're like, but this is actually scary, like when you think about it.
Well, I mean, following up on that, the story of well, I think the Washington Post had the story of like how this person, this election denier, met with Mark Meadows like 8 to 10 times and had this PowerPoint, and you just got this sense, at least I got the sense of like, oh my God, if there is a second Trump administration in 2024, it's going to be this way 24/7. It's not going to be. It's not going to be malevolence tempered by incompetence. It's going to be malevolence and incompetence. I mean, it's just going to be crazy people wandering the halls of the White House, saying and presenting crazy PowerPoints. It's really terribly frightening.
But I guess I just don't know if there's like any historical precedent for this, or maybe it's something that you only realize because you're living in it, and it takes living in it to realize how dumb it is. Or maybe it's like the fact that like you can make a meme out of it. Like making memes out of democracy dying is like quite a new thing, I believe. I don't know what they were doing when Rome fell. But it's just, I've never like, does that make sense? Like, how do you know when something's new, or if you're experiencing it for the first time, or you just don't know because it's not possible until you've lived it?
Well, actually, the philosopher Arthur Danto once defined a historical fact as a fact that when it occurs, you can't know it's significant, and that I mean, I don't know. I'm not a historian, but I will say that I don't know how one doesn't take this unbelievably seriously. I mean, to the point where I don't see any case for optimism. It does seem like we're in a very, very bad way, and I don't see a process that reverses it anytime soon.
But I want to add something to that I don't think the instinct that Scott just described is incompatible with humor and mockery. So, one person with a dire sense of the human condition was Jonathan Swift. And his response to that was to make fun of it. And there are times that are really awful tend to give rise to satire because it's one way that we have of commenting on it. And times that are also really good tend to give rise to satire as well, for different reasons. But
which one are we in now?
Yeah.
How do you know which one you're in? Sorry.
Yeah. And so I think there's a like you're setting up an either or, and I think a both and is like things really suck. There's a lot of hard work to do. There may or may not be, as Scott says, a case for optimism, but we can make fun of it. And there is some really funny work that's dark as hell. And so I don't think the implication of your question, which is like, oh, if it's really that dark, maybe we shouldn't make fun of the PowerPoint presentation. I'm not sure that's right. I think if it's really dark, maybe the only recourse you have is to make fun of the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, totally. I just am curious, like, how bad do you guys think the PowerPoint presentation is? Like, is it as bad? Like, do you like in your judgment, which is meant
Scott's
for
PowerPoint presentation is awful. There's it's really
barely get it to
dangerous
work.
stuff.
Except for the
No, but I'm
Star
serious.
Witness, I thought it was pretty fucking great. But I mean, I actually read it today just to get a sense of it, and it is it's like
great.
the Chinese and Dominion, and it's like it's the word salad that it tends to be the election deniers. It's just this one is on a PowerPoint. I mean, it's really nutty. And it's also very hard to follow because it doesn't kind of make any sense. Lots of graphs which don't mean anything. It's crazy.
I looked at it. I also saw that I saw somebody retweeted that basically it had been that there was a journalist who had it on January 5th and sent it out and was like, this is what the White House has been getting briefed on, and they posted it on Twitter. That like on January 5th, and like this is what's going on in the White House today, and now there's like all of these questions about how she got a hold of this on January 5th. Yeah, I don't know. Wow. It's just I thought that part was a little bit crazy. Eric Berg, do you have anything to cheer us up about, or are we all going to be questioning the satire that we're currently sitting in?
Here I was just making a joke about formulas and company names.
I liked your joke, but what do you make of the PowerPoint? Either one. You can talk about either one or both.
Actually, I guess the one thing I'll say and especially being in a state where I'm at, the good and the bad of having all this come out is that no one can legitimately look at the questions of elections and say that it's news to them that there's an anti-democratic party. No one can say that there's like not a coup party. And so, like, now it's incumbent on us to make sure that party loses anymore, because at least, say what you will, on November 1st, someone could still say, well, it's not like they're going to throw the entire democracy out. And you couldn't say that on January 7th. That's the good news, and I do think that's a winning argument with America by and large, and now it's all on us to do that. The only worry that I have is that there are some jurisdictions where that will be a majority of people. And so then you have to decide whether those jurisdictions are, worth being in and worth working in, because at some point, you can work your tail off, but if the majority of people want an anti-democratic state or county or country, like, at some point there's only so much you can do.
I would just say, Eric, that the issue, I agree with so much of what you said, but I would just say that it's not like there are a majority of Americans who are in favor of this. What's happened is that there have been a lot of, you don't need a majority, all you need is passionate minorities, in strategic places, which are then entrenched from the majority, even in those places, from being dislodged. And so you can get a minority controlling the fate of the majority in a way which is unchangeable according to the rules. And that's what's so scary, is not that like the entire country wants something a certain way, but rather it's a minority of people in the country who want the majority to not to have their way.
Yeah.
I agree with...
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I agree with that. And by and large, we've seen that it isn't the majority. But one of the things about working in politics is we have to understand that there is a possibility that if Trump wins in 2024, that he wins the popular vote. I don't think it's likely, but there's a possibility of that. And in certain states where he will he would win if he were to run, that's what they're endorsing. And I do agree that like such a big part of the problem is just that the tables are slanted in such a way that the majority can't get the governance that they want. Um, but I guess my optimism is I don't fundamentally believe that the country is a country that would vote for an anti-democratic party, and with it being out in the open, I don't think things would end well if it were to happen again. You know, kind of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, or whatever it is, you know, George Bush quote, etc. But I think that's one of the things that gives me hope is that the GOP largely hasn't figured out what the end game is, if that makes sense. In that, I always love it in the PowerPoint. It says, you know, despite Democratic protest or something, and like, are they just like waving off what the nation would do if the president was changed by fiat? Like, and so one would have to imagine that the public pressure would be quite a bit different than they imagine, or just on a different scale than we've ever seen. Or at least you have to imagine or hope that, because otherwise it gets back to the pessimism again.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say that I think that there is more of a case for optimism than I think Scott acknowledges. And that case is that, but for the singular election of 2016, which you can say, note correctly, relied on a fluke of the Electoral College. The public has not voted for this. And it's had a number of opportunities to, and it doesn't vote for this. And I think there is something reassuring about that in a very non-Madisonian way. You know, Madison believed, and a lot of U.S. history supports, that you need counter-majoritarianism to protect us against majoritarian demagoguery. And what the last 8 or 10 years of American history have shown is that sometimes you need majoritarianism to save us against the counter-majoritarian institutions delivering us, demagoguery. But I do think the case for optimism is that the majority of American voters, and thank God for minority voters of all types, are the majority is really wise, and the majority did not vote for George W. Bush the first time. It did marginally, by a small margin, vote for him the second time. Did not vote for. It voted for Barack Obama twice. It voted for Hillary Clinton. It voted for Joe Biden. The majority has no interest in the radicalisms of and by the way, the majority does not follow the Democratic left off of its particular cliffs either. And so I think the case for optimism is just that the majority of the American public is very sober and tends to make pretty good decisions.
I also just think that, like, maybe, and I hope, and actually this relates to Daniel's question, but like, I really wonder how much people are going to remember January 6th and like see that as the face of republicanism, like when they do at the midterm elections. So Daniel, I think that is that kind of what your question was getting towards?
In his native habitat. Look at it, it's the perfect proto-Daniel picture.
It is.
I suppose Ben has largely answered my question, but I tend to think if one believes political science research that the average voter is pretty myopic, and I do worry how seriously the average voter in a swing state is going to be taking this stuff 3 years later when Trump is on the ballot.
Well, I want to say something in defense of the average voter, which is that the average voter doesn't choose anything. The average voter gets aggregated with a whole lot of other average voters. And the average voter individually may have a lot of wacky ideas. But what we're actually, when we talk about democratic majorities, I mean small d democratic here, what you're talking about is the aggregation of very large numbers of individual idiosyncrasies, which tend to cancel each other out. And what's scary about radicalisms is that they involve idiosyncrasies, what would normally be idiosyncrasies in individuals, and they concentrate them in very large numbers of groups. And so if I say to you, okay, Scott's a bit of a violent person, he has a gun fetish, Kate is a bit of a...
I like knives.
She's a knife person. You know, you say on an individual basis, this is kind of a harmless eccentricity. But if you get very large numbers of people who, don't believe in the Constitution and carry guns and knives, you starting to worry about that. It's when everybody's eccentricities go in the same direction that we stop calling them eccentricities and we start calling them extremisms. And the scary thing about the current moment is that you have a very large number of people who are living in this soup and thus developing the same, what would otherwise be not necessarily harmless eccentricities, but comparatively harmless eccentricities. And I think there is nothing new in the Trumpist worldview, right? It's not a new thing. Hatred of foreigners, racism, right? What's new about it is persuading large numbers of people to make it the actionable feature of their vote, as opposed to free markets or lower taxes or all the other things that conservatives traditionally care about. And I think it is in that context reassuring that they have never managed to convince the majority of these things. Now, is it adequately reassuring? No.
It's not like there's like a... Okay, I want to, Scott is about to say something. I'm curious what Scott's thinking.
Well, I just said, it just, insofar as there's been a sustained attempt to infiltrate the electoral machinery in various states, that seems extraordinarily dangerous and doesn't require majorities to agree with them. Just requires people to not certify or not credit certain types of counts and make assertions, and that's what worries me. And also, the Supreme Court seems actively hostile to voting rights, and I don't see it making its way through the court system up to the Supreme Court. I don't see the Supreme Court doing anything to protect the vote either. So that's
we are about to wrap up.
If you want to hear a perfectly terrifying discussion of this issue, listen to today's Lawfare podcast, where I and a bunch of the Greek chorus folks peppered Mr. Bart Gellman with a bunch of questions on this subject on Friday on his Atlantic article. And I have to say, he makes a very good case for alarmism. I am disinclined to argue anybody out of it.
I don't know. I agree with all of this, but I feel like we're still in shades of the I mean, and I guess Pete was very animated by Bert Gelman's piece as well, but like still in shades of like Pete's kind of despair that he was in at the end of last week. That was just very much in a place of, you know, this is really bad. We have to do something. And I just don't really know how much there is to do besides try to get people to vote. And that's not even clear that that's going to be enough. So like, I don't know. There seems to me like, I don't know, that's a pretty depressing place to leave the show, though. Man.
So let's leave it in a happier place. This dog shirt doesn't give a shit about the fate of elections. It just wants a treat.
Will we have Clothing Monster in the future?
I put in a new order to Clothing Monster. If you give me a second, I will pull up the really important list of items that I ordered in my last order, because I think I want
to know if it's going to be subsumed by Hearst.
Yeah, right. That's the thing, is if we took over Hertz, we could control Clothing Monster and also the military-industrial complex through Halliburton.
Yes, I mean, you have to give Scott points for the longevity and the planning of like how this all can come about. I mean, really, it's truly.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive.
I gave it almost like 20 minutes of thought. So
you did Google the wrong person that is the CEO of the company, but that's
but that was on purpose.
No.
All right. So on my latest Clothing Monster order, I ordered a Happy Guinea Pig shirt, a Corn on the Cob shirt, which is the first shirt that has not involved Kingdom Animalia, an Emu t-shirt, in the dog shirt department, an Italian Mastiff t-shirt, a Sloth shirt, and to go with Genevieve's hippie dog shirt, a Bulldog peace sign t-shirt. So we are diversifying. Let it not be said we don't take the cries for diversity here seriously on In Lieu of Fun.
Biodiversity.
Species diversity, all kinds of diversity. And obviously we will keep you posted if
you ever hear back from Clothing Monster.
If there are any delays for Clothing Monster.
We're just going to have to do it. I still think that we should just buy bear shirts from them and then do a hug of Clothing Monster. But, right, exactly.
Clothing Monster, I would like to see I almost want to sue them just so that I can get discovery of their internal responses to my emails.
That's good, Ben. That's like, kind of like pretty sure that discovery doesn't work that way for small claims court, but one can always hope.
I'm going to claim, treble damages and make a huge claim on them, emotional distress.
You have frittered away another hour with Scott's incredible lack of prowess in tech and abilities, but incredible abilities in PowerPoint presentations. Yes, that, and also in listening to Ben list his clothing order to you in descriptive form in a list.
I have a message here on my Apple Watch from Pete Struck for you, Kate.
Okay. Telling me not to be depressed? Oh, no.
He says, also, tell Kate my message was not to despair. It was to wake the fuck up and get a sense of urgency to act.
Okay. Fair. That's true. He did say that. That is true. I just
don't text me in the middle of the show, Pete. It's confusing. My wrist goes. Yeah.
We will be back 22 hours and 59 minutes from now, and until then, Ben,
we don't have fun anymore. But for those who like Scott's PowerPoint presentations, Lawfare is actually going to put on this spring a series of serious lectures by Scott about how to hack things, which is going to be weird for those of you who assume Scott is technically incompetent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, everything always goes wrong during the class too, but in theory it works. Yeah, but I also work with two network administrators, also extremely intelligent people, and they help me keep everything on track, like very complex technical things like sharing screens and things like that.
Yeah,
So.
I know. I I'm taking a salary from Yale IT this year. So